I wasn't intending to make a video about this, but it was just too good not to. So I've just heard now that this Kemi Badenoch has, she's out at the Conservative leadership contest, and she was the only one that didn't look like she was pushing the New World Order manifesto. So now, if the Conservative Party members get a vote, and that's a big if because they never got a vote in the end with Theresa May, because the final candidate who was up against her withdrew. What are the odds on that happening again? I would say very high. It'll probably be Sunak or Penny Mordaunt. Both of those are New World Order, World Economic Forum, Bilderberger type people who are going to be pushing all of those narratives we've seen since March 2020. So I guess the big question is, why? Like, why even bother going through this kind of theatre of putting up this this Kemi Badenoch, who spoke an incredibly good game, you know? Basically, one explanation is trolling. It's like, here's what you could have had. And this person seems to understand, she believes in free market capitalism, limited government, free speech, an end to the alphabet waffle, and you know, all the things that you really want. But we're not going to get you. We're not going to let you vote for any of that. We're just going to rig it. Suck it up, plebs. So I think there's very, very much an element of that. It's just toying with the electorate. It's just like, let's torment the general public because we can, and because we just do it for shits and giggles. So I definitely think that that's the case. The other thing that I would say about it, it was inevitable, you know. If you think back to 2010, I remember Osborne, and in particular, and to a lesser extent David Cameron, in the lead up to the 2010 election, basically saying that, oh, you know, Gordon Brown he's been running up too much debt. The housing market's out of control. People have got mortgages that they're going to struggle to repay. We need to do something about it. We need to go back to more prudent lending standards. And then, so they spoke a great game. And then when they were in office, as soon as they were in office, what did they do? Answer the exact opposite of what they promised to do. So they introduced Help to Buy. They criticised the housing bubble, quite rightly so, but what did they actually do? They went for Help to Buy, which pumped even more funny money into the housing market. So house prices actually rose and became even less affordable than they were before. So I think, yeah, what else is that? I suppose, for like what the last 2 years have taught me is that some people, most people, are incredibly dumb, like really properly dumb. So I think the Kemi Badenoch thing is, it was designed to give people a bit of hope, you know. Oh, maybe the system isn't completely corrupt, because look, you know, Kemi's not controlled. She's allowed to stand, you know. She's allowed to go for the leadership. My reply to that would be, sadly, you know, she's controlled like the others. You don't get to become an MP unless they've got something on you, you know, like in a Stanley Kubrick Eyes Wide Shut. You know, we're talking photos and videotapes of you doing stuff, you know, or anything else. I don't know, maybe some sort of financial dodginess. They've got stuff over you. You don't even get to stand as a LibLabCon MP unless you're controllable. You know, there'll be others, people like Jeremy Hunt, who will actually who actually enjoy going for the agenda, the anti-human agenda. People like him don't need to be persuaded. They just they just want to do it. Same as Brown and Blair. But yeah, I think it was just all a big sham with this Kemi. you know, maybe some people were going to believe that there was still some sort of hope and democracy. And I suppose it's a Yuri Bezmenov situation, isn't it, where you have this this farce of her standing, saying some really impressive stuff just to get people's hopes up, and then those hopes are dashed. Which is, you know, again, these people do it for shits and giggles, but it actually is quite cruel. So my advice would be, if you still have some trust in the system, it's misplaced. The answer isn't politics, I'm afraid. Even if a new party was to be formed, then basically it would be taken over by, you know, the people behind the Great Reset and stuff. You know, if I think back to some interesting things actually that I've not spoken about before, I think this would have been March 2020 or April 2020. Steve Baker, at this time I was still on Twitter, so I used to follow Steve Baker on Twitter. I actually met him a few times, and yeah, bizarrely, he actually knew me. Without me, he recognised me, even though I'd never met him before, which was kind of odd, really odd. Anyway, Steve Baker did a tweet around the end of March 2020, as I say, and it was, a lot of it was based on a video of his a camera on attached to his motorbike helmet. Steve Baker's into riding a motorbike, and he's a constituent. He's a local MP for High Wycombe, I think, out on the M40 anyway, out of London. And Steve had been speaking out against the lockdowns, and this video of him driving along the M40, it featured some police cars cutting right in front of Steve, and he was pretty lucky not to come off. Maybe one of the cars was unmarked as well, and then a police car came along after it. And basically Steve in his tweet, he said, oh, it was lucky that the police were on hand, they were chasing after this road car or whatever. And I just thought to myself, that's a warning shot by the powers that be against Steve Baker. You better shut your mouth, mate. The other one that I'm reminded of was Nigel Farage. I remember a helicopter accident that he was involved in, and he staggered away from, and then pretty shortly after that he moderated his stand on Brexit and just, you know, other stuff really. He just basically moderated his position, and I think he became part of the controlled opposition. So there you have it then. Politics, democracy, it's all a bit of a sham really. It's a kabuki theatre. It's all fake. Ersatz democracy. Anyway, God bless you.